Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, September 20th, 2018. We have a few fire potential impacts to talk about in the next coming days, but the main story here is that the forecast remains dry for the foreseeable future. For today, we have seen a cold front move through much of the geographic area, bringing some cooler temperatures to the region, but we are going to see continued gusty northwest winds today in southeast Idaho, western Wyoming, and portions of eastern Utah. For tomorrow, we're looking at a generally mild day with sunny skies and near normal temperatures. And then by Saturday, we'll start to warm up again and see some southwest winds increasing once again over Nevada and southwest Utah and up into southeast Idaho. We'll also begin to see a little bit of a cold front moving into the central Idaho mountains. Shown here is the precipitation and lightning for the past 24 hours. We did see a few little lightning strikes move through the central Idaho mountains and then also in the Uinta Basin of northeast Utah. We will see some gusty northwest winds there in northeast Utah, so that may be something to look for throughout the day today. Fire activity remains quite active for this time of year, especially on the ongoing large fires in Idaho and central Utah and western Wyoming. Shown here is the percent of normal precipitation for both the 14 and 30-day periods. Taking a look at the past couple weeks, little to no precipitation has been observed, and that's putting us way outside of climatology for the middle of September. This lack of precipitation is having a very large impact on our fire danger indices. Here we're looking at ERC, where the values are above the 97th percentile for much of southeast Idaho, western Wyoming, large portion of northern Nevada, and northern Utah. We're setting new historical records for ERCs in many of these areas. Taking a closer look here in western Wyoming, we can see the very rapid rise in ERCs over the past week or so, the highest values they've seen this year. And also across northwest Utah, where historical records have been set since the beginning of September. Live fuel moistures are also setting historical records for the time of year across much of the geographic area. Here's a couple sites in southwest Idaho and southwest Utah. We're looking at sagebrush here, where those values have been below the historical lows for the past 10 or so years. This morning's satellite imagery shows that trough of low pressure moving across the Great Basin today. We can see that cold front is being pushed off to the east, and we're experiencing cooler northwest flow behind that front. The air mass is still quite dry, however. For this afternoon, we'll continue to see a dry air mass in place mainly across Utah and Nevada, slightly higher values over Idaho. And we'll see those gusty northwest winds continue over southeast Idaho, western Wyoming, and across portions of mainly the higher elevations of central and northern Utah. A closer look at the wind in RH is shown here, with the strongest winds there over southern Idaho, western Wyoming, and eastern Utah. The winds will be generally light over Nevada today, and we'll see the lowest relative humidities coming in over Nevada in the 8 to 9% and slightly higher elsewhere across the geographic area. More of the same is expected on Friday, although the winds will lighten up across much of the area, with generally sunny skies and dry conditions. Winds will be mostly light across the area, with continued low relative humidities over Utah and Nevada. On Saturday, we'll begin to see another trough of low pressure developing over the Pacific Northwest, and this will increase dry southwest winds once again over the geographic area. We'll see our temperatures come up associated with these gusty southwest winds, and we've issued high risk for much of southern Idaho and western Nevada and into southeast Nevada and western Utah. A closer look at the winds shows the strongest gusts will come along the Sierra Front and over the higher elevations of eastern Idaho. And the air mass will continue to be dry, pushing some slightly drier air up into Idaho. The 3-day precipitation totals are shown here, taking us through midday Sunday. We're not looking for any real significant measurable precipitation in the next couple of days. On Sunday, however, that little cold front does track through Idaho and even drops slightly into northern Utah, and it could bring some very isolated showers, mainly to the higher elevations of central Idaho. As that cold front tracks through further south, we expect it to be generally dry. This will help fire danger decrease somewhat across the north, however, but will continue to bring dry, gusty winds to Utah and Nevada. After that trough moves off to the east, by Monday, slightly cooler northwest flow will spread throughout the geographic area. This dry air mass remains in place through the middle of next week, looking for continued very dry conditions over Nevada and Utah, with more seasonal temperatures perhaps. The 7-day precipitation totals are shown here. Still very dry for the end of September. Really just looking for a slight chance of some precipitation moving into the central Idaho mountains and possibly those northern Wyoming forests on Sunday. The extended forecast, taking us into the first couple of days of October, continues to call for above normal temperatures for the geographic area, with below normal chances for precipitation over mainly Idaho and Nevada, with perhaps an above normal chance for precip moving into eastern Utah. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.